The joke slipped out so casually that I almost forgot I had said it. We had spent another Saturday fixing a broken fence, arguing over paint colors, laughing about burnt pancakes, and somehow making an ordinary day feel like home. As I looked at Rachel standing beside me in the warm Missouri sunshine, I grinned and said, "You're practically my wife." I expected her to laugh. Instead, she grew quiet, looked straight into my eyes, and answered with words that shattered every wall I had built around my heart. "Caleb, I stopped pretending years ago. I've loved you long enough to know I'd rather lose the dream than keep hiding it." Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that may need them today. For several seconds, I couldn't answer. The only sound was the wind moving through the maple trees behind my small farmhouse outside Springfield, Missouri. Rachel lowered her eyes, embarrassed by her honesty, and quietly picked up her toolbox. I wanted to stop her, but fear had always been stronger than my feelings. 5 years earlier, my fiancé had ended our engagement just weeks before the wedding, leaving behind a note that simply said she wanted a different life. Since then, I had convinced myself that love was temporary, and that depending on someone only guaranteed heartbreak. Rachel had patiently remained my closest friend through every lonely season. She never forced conversations about the future. She simply showed up. When my father passed away, she filled my freezer with homemade meals. When my mother struggled after surgery, Rachel drove her to appointments before I could leave work. Every birthday, every holiday, every ordinary Tuesday somehow included her quiet kindness. Yet I had hidden behind friendship because it felt safer than hope. That evening, her words echoed through every room of my house. I looked around and realized almost every happy memory from the past several years included Rachel. The framed photograph from a county fair, the coffee mug she bought me after I received a promotion, the quilt she stitched when winter storms damaged my roof and left the house freezing. None of those gifts were expensive. They were reminders that someone had been choosing me every single day while I was too afraid to choose her back. The following weeks became strangely uncomfortable. Rachel gave me space because she respected my silence, but her absence made everything heavier. Grocery shopping felt lonely. Sunday church services seemed quieter. Even neighborhood barbecues no longer felt complete. My friends noticed before I did. Marcus finally asked why Rachel hadn't been around lately. I admitted what had happened, expecting him to laugh at my confusion. Instead, he simply smiled and asked one question. If she disappeared forever tomorrow, would you regret telling yourself you needed more time? I didn't even need to think before answering yes. That night I drove through familiar streets, with memories flooding my mind. I remembered every moment Rachel had stood beside me without asking for anything in return. I realized that love had never been absent from my life. I had simply refused to recognize it because it arrived quietly instead of dramatically. I had spent years waiting for certainty, while someone else had been faithfully building a future beside me, one small act of kindness at a time. I found Rachel the next afternoon, volunteering at the local community garden, where she spent weekends growing vegetables for struggling families. She looked surprised to see me, but she welcomed me with the same gentle smile that had carried me through countless difficult days. My voice shook as I admitted something I had never said aloud. I told her I wasn't afraid of loving her. I was afraid of losing someone who had become my safest place. She listened without interrupting, and for the first time in years, I stopped trying to sound strong. I simply told the truth. Rachel reached for my hand and reminded me that real love isn't built by people who never fear loss. It's built by people who decide that someone is worth the risk anyway. Those words changed everything inside me. I finally understood that courage wasn't pretending pain could never happen again. Courage was choosing hope despite knowing life could still break your heart. Over the next year, our friendship slowly transformed into the marriage I had jokingly mentioned that sunny afternoon. There were no extravagant proposals or dramatic surprises, just two imperfect people learning that trust grows through ordinary mornings, shared prayers, grocery lists, laughter over burned dinners, and standing beside each other when life becomes difficult. We continued volunteering together, cared for my aging mother, and discovered that the happiest moments were often the simplest ones. Before we reach the ending, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us about someone whose quiet kindness changed your life. Your story may encourage another viewer who needs hope today. Years later, people still ask us when we first realized we were meant for each other. Rachel usually smiles without answering, but I always remember that afternoon beside the old fence. The day I made a careless joke became the day I finally heard the truth my heart had been avoiding for years. Sometimes, the greatest love stories don't begin with fireworks. They begin with someone showing up again and again until one honest sentence changes everything forever. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone you care about, subscribe for more inspiring stories, and let us know how this ending made you feel. Your encouragement helps keep messages of hope, faith, compassion, and second chances alive, one story at a time.